Okay. So we are with Dr. Niyi Alabi, if I be right. Yes. Doctor wears so many hats, but for now, I think the most important point I want to emphasize is that because of the work you do, you are very experienced in practical aspects of African politics. In point of fact, you used to be the private interpreter into French for our president. Now, I'm sure you've been at several summits many ordinary people like me have had that privilege of. If you have to summarize from your privileged position the record, the image of President Kufuor in African politics, what would you say? What have you seen from the inner halls we are not allowed into?
Well, in actual fact, my professional ethics, I'm not supposed to divulge anything which is privileged or classified. But from President Kufuor's interaction with his peers, ever since he first appeared at the APRM, African Peer Review Mechanism meeting in Abuja, in the early days of the formative years of APRM, he came across like somebody who had what it takes actually to rub shoulders, to rub minds with his light, and his consistent and recurrent views were about how to democratize the continent, how to deepen democracy, ensure that the rule of law would be nurtured so that it will become part and parcel of the continent. And I remember that when the idea of setting up the APRM came on board, a few of the heads of state were reticent. They were actually apprehensive. They were asking why they should impose upon themselves some of these very harsh, standards of governance, harsh norms of governance upon themselves. And I remember President Kufuor.
He went ahead.
He said, no, let us prove to the world that things are changing for the better, and that we are no longer the continent that had been described as a basket case, and that we're really determined to ensure a better place for our people. So, that's why Ghana came to be the first country to be peer reviewed. And this is ample testimony of his abiding faith, President Kufuor's abiding faith in ensuring good governance, corporate good governance, political good governance, and all the other, parameters of good governance. And I think among his peers, he won a lot of respect. People from Abdullah Wad were very critical of some of their own, peers.
Yeah.
You could see that.
Yeah. Abdullah Wad has not pulled punches.
Yes. Lots and lots.
But he's been very critical of NEPAD. He's been very critical of the West. And we seem to be the darling boys of the West.
Yeah, but he himself is dining and whining with the West. That is a fact of the matter.
He goes there to criticize them.
He goes there also to praise them and to take the best out of them. And there's no doubt about that. But the truth of the matter is that, you see, Kufuor became the darling boy, of these people. Remember in the early days of the Ivorian crisis, he was called upon to play a leading role, not only because Ghana is a neighbor, a distant neighbor of Cote d'Ivoire, but also because at that time he was the person who was calling the shots as far as peace initiatives in West Africa were concerned. And all these, I think, positive developments were quite handy when it became necessary for him to be made, for example, ECOWAS chairman, and he had to be there for 2 terms, AU chairman, and exactly what happened when he became chairman.
So he was well liked by his peers.
He was well liked by his peers.
Now we are talking just a couple of hours after the result of our presidential election has been announced. What do you think was the impact of President Kufuor on this election, the 208 election?
There's absolutely no doubt that President Kufuor has enjoyed massive goodwill from Ghanaians as well as from people outside the country. And this election, the NPP went into it still sailing on the crest wave of the Kufuor factor, the Kufuor popularity.
It was not Kufuor Nani, it was Nani.
Absolutely, but you see, Nana having also been part and parcel of the government from its very inception, playing leading roles in, governance, being minister for justice.
And that's why I believe that he was not the first choice of the president. Was that an issue?
That he was not
the first choice of the president to run for his party.
Well, I think that is something that I don't seem to get very well. The first choice of the NPP, you mean?
No, the first choice of President Kufuor. President Kufuor preferred Martin as the candidate.
Well,
was that an issue?
I think that, from my perspective, and I would say this without fear of contradiction, I would not say that I know President Kufuor too well, but I would say that he is somebody who has a lot of regard or a lot of soft spot for people who in the past have been good to him.
He's loyal. His
political mentors. For example, Alabi Martin's father, the late A.A.Y. Martin, we are told, was quite instrumental in President Kufuor's, first job at the Kumasi Municipal Council and so on. As a budding politician, he received quite a lot of tutorials from the late A.A.Y. Martin. And on that score, he felt more comfortable, even though I thought it was a major faux pas, thinking about Alan's relative lack of political experience when vis-a-vis Nana Akufo-Addo. I thought the president's call for Alan in itself was also a divisive thing.
So now we are going to go into a runoff.
Yeah, we're going to go into
which party is stronger?
Well, if you look at the statistics,
not just in terms of the result, but politically,
politically, yeah, I mean, I would say it is if you look at the spread, the number of regions that fell for the NDC, one could be tempted to think that the NDC has become more popular and has a more even spread nationwide. That I can say without fear of contradiction. But then also,
would you say they're going in with more confidence?
The NDC
is going in
would
with more
definitely
confidence.
be buoyed by the kind of results they were able to attain, from the nationwide score.
Now, finally, I know you are from Cape Coast. The central region has become very important in this election. What exactly happened?
Well, I have always said that politicians should study the psychology and the sociology of the Cape Coaster. And I easily refer to the incident that made Cape Coast cease to be the capital of the Gold Coast, when the colonial governor went there to lecture them about the need to pay the poll tax. And he was trying to justify it. Cape Coasters said it was unjust, it was unfair for them to pay this kind of tax. And while he was haranguing them at Victoria Park, a missile was thrown by one of the people and he struck his head.
Really?
He had a car and he ran all the way back to Accra. That's how he left Cape Coast unceremoniously.
Cape Coast has always been politically active.
Very good. So if you want to meet your political Waterloo, you joke with Cape Coasters. Take them for granted.
Are you saying NPP joked with Cape Coast?
They did joke with Cape
How
Coast.
did they
There
joke
were
with
two
Cape Coast?
issues: economic issues, issues of survival and sustenance of the Cape Coasters. Coastal people, they rely on fishing, and there were two issues: premix. The other issue was pearl trawling. The government did not deal with
fishing
this issue.
economy.
The fishing economy. They didn't deal with this issue head on, and they paid dearly for it.
Thank you very much, Alabi. Thank you. That's good. I have my maximum of 10 minutes on YouTube.